what's up with Sean Baligian?
What up, this is Joint Bell here on the Baligian and Bell show.
Make sure you check us out on the Woodward Sports Network. So glad you could join us wherever you may be all over the great state of Michigan. Maybe you're someplace else. Always a pleasure to have the always dapper Terry Foster in the house. T-Foss. T-Foss. Joik Bell at the other end. I'm Sean Baligian. What's up, Joik?
Good morning.
You all right?
Good morning. I got we had a lot of feedback yesterday from a lot of our supporters. They kind of liked the show yesterday, so I'm excited about that.
Did they?
They enjoyed it.
Everybody likes to get mean to me.
No, nobody was.
You know what? I wish a guy like Terry Foster was here yesterday.
You just have to follow up. That's all.
That's
two in a row.
No, you know what? I wish a guy like Terry was here yesterday because I think if anybody, Joik, when you weren't here on Monday, Terry had a great idea. We need to educate the rest of the nation. We need to let people know what the Detroit Lions have been, right? We love them. I've talked to you 100 times. But Terry had an idea doing a 30 for 30 on just the Detroit Lions and the relationship that they have with the city and the fans and everything. Okay. And part of that would be, and Terry was like, a guy like you should do it who grew up around it. You still stick with them. And I do. As much as I dog them, okay? The Lions are my team. They're always going to be my team. God help me, but they are.
Sit up tall real quick so they can see it. Sit up tall.
Look at, come on.
Chest.
And he remembers all the silly stuff, too, so that's why you should do it.
Yes. So with that being said, Terry, yesterday we had one of those silly conversations. The revisionist history of the Caldwell era and glorifying 9 and 7 makes me want to pull hair out of my head.
Hold on, I don't think we want to go into this conversation.
No.
Saying silly conversation.
I'm calm.
Saying silly conversation.
Okay,
it's been condescending.
All right. I didn't mean to be condescending.
It's okay.
Sorry.
It's all right.
Here's the problem. I understand where you're coming from, but here's the problem. This franchise has been so inept that when you think about the Detroit Lions, you think about Wayne Fontes in the Caldwell era. That's been the best. That's it. No Super Bowls, no multiple playoff wins. That's it. So you can't sit up here like, this Caldwell era was bad.
No, it wasn't.
In comparison to other franchises.
That's not what he said. What he said was, he didn't say it was bad. He said it wasn't good enough. All right?
You agree with that?
He said it wasn't good enough. That's what he said.
I agree, but when I look at this franchise, that's like the top stuff.
The glory days.
Right. So we're going to take it back to what Sean was saying. Sean was saying that he looks around the other teams in the NFL, like the what'd you call it? The
usual suspects.
The usual suspects. Mm-hmm. The usual suspects. And he said he wants that for the Detroit Lions. We all want that, but we have to start like we were, 0-16 season, 3-13 seasons, and and then we get to a spot to where we're 9-7, we're 11-5. All right, we might have dropped back down to 7-9, but we're back at 9-7. So we had we were building a foundation of this is our standard, and that's what we were trying to say. Like, this is our standard. Now, if this is not, if we're not going to uphold this standard, like this is our standard, right? And I'm not saying this is our end goal. See, Sean think I'm saying this is the end goal, but this is our standard right now, and then we're going to build off of this. We cannot accept anything lower than this, all right? And 9-7 isn't good enough when you're not winning playoff games. But if you go 9-7 win the Super Bowl, then it's good enough. All right?
That's true. But I think the way the Lions are structured, that's about as good as you could go. You're never
9-7?
Yes.
We went 11-5. We went 11-5. So that's not as good as you can go.
But did you win a playoff game?
That's what that's what I'm saying.
9-7, 11-5.
It's not about winning seasons. It's not about how many games you win. It's about playoff wins, and it's about Super Bowl. That's what. And for me, it's not. But in order to get to the playoffs, you have to have wins in the season. You have to have wins. 9-7 can get you in the playoffs. Sometimes it can't. It just depends on how the cookie falls. But
Terry, do you think the way that it's set up now, does this lend itself to maybe changing that narrative?
no.
I think so because
No. Oh, I'd love
as
to
I've
hear
said
that.
No.
before, this is the first time the Lions haven't hired friends to either run the franchise or coach the franchise. This is the
First time. First time.
This is the first time.
The
this
coach?
is the first time.
The coach?
No, this is the first time.
Was
where
Bob
they
Quinn a
didn't-
friend? Was Bob
they
Quinn a
didn't
friend?
Hire a friend.
Was Bob Quinn a friend?
Bob Quinn hired Matt Patricia, friend.
But what I'm saying, the team, what I'm saying, the higher ups, the people that brought in Bob Quinn, was he friends?
He was not, but there was still the structure of at some point, whether it was the coach or the general manager, a friend was brought in.
Okay.
And my whole thing is, I like seeing the fact that they hired a coach who wasn't a friend and a GM who wasn't a friend. They went out, and maybe they screwed it up, but they went out, did a search for the first time, a nationwide search for the first time in Detroit Lions history, and came up with whatever they came up with.
I love what they're doing. Is it going to help us right now? No. Because once again, it's not about who we have coaching. It's going to be about the personnel we have on the field. We're not going to be 9-7 in the next couple of years. It's not going to be that. Do I think it'll help us in the long run? Yes. Right now, no. But you have a lot of guys here using this as an opportunity. Are they here to help Detroit win, or is this a stepping? Or is this a stepping stone to get to the next level in their career?
A lot of the Lions core is either in high school now or maybe a college freshman or sophomore. They're a long way away. So I know Lion fans, well, it'll take a few games. No, it's going to take a few years, maybe 2 or 3 years, getting your ass kicked, getting in some talent, and then you look at this talent and say, you know what, this dude's got potential. That's where they are now. The problem with that, and I feel guilty about saying this, we keep asking this fan base, wait, it's coming. Wait, wait. And we're asking them again, wait. Why? Because this old man thinks maybe they did it right, so I'm asking you to wait again. I can understand where some fans say, no, I'm not waiting. Because you've asked me to wait year after year after year after year. I'm pissed off. But
this is different, though. This is different. This is a different way. Kind of like the Pistons is a different type of way.
Well, and I think that's what he's saying.
Yeah, it's a different type of way.
Different.
But I'm not saying that he's not saying that. I'm saying fans are going to have to
I got you.
The fans are just going to have to realize that and understand that.
I echo the last thing in the world a Lion fan wants to hear is be patient.
Exactly.
What the hell are you talking about with be patient? That has been my existence as a Lions fan. I'm 50 years old, all right? I don't want to hear patience anymore, okay? I just don't want to hear that. But, Terry, honest to goodness, people need to hear what you just said. People get mad at me when I say, think 2 or 3 years from now, because they're thinking 2 or 3 years from now. Oh, no way. I mean, you see it in the comments on here. Oh, no way, man. You're being a hater and everything. What Terry just said, Terry, spot on. The core of this football team might be seniors in high school right now. They might be freshmen in college, sophomores in college. The wait is going to be when that group comes in and everything. And to me, I'm with you. I'm actually excited about it because I know for a fact that the way the Lions have operated business has not worked in my lifetime. That I can tell you definitively. Try something new.
Right, because what has happened with the Lions, the final decision, or it always has come back to a money man making the final decision, whether it was Russ Thomas or Chuck Schmidt. They were bean counters, and so they were the buck stops here, and that's not right. Whether he's a screw up or not, it should be some dude involved in football. It shouldn't be a bean counter.
Yeah, no doubt about that.
Yeah.
Dave said, "Be patient," and this is different is the same thing. How could I blame you or anybody else for thinking that? I mean, the only thing that I can tell you, I will reiterate what Terry just said. If you look at the way things have been constructed and operated with this franchise, you guys tell me if this is different. You know what I mean? This is different. Now, I don't blame you if you think that there's no pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. How on earth could I blame any Lion fan for being skeptical? How could I do that? The Lions are like the poster child for show me. You know, quit telling me about what you're going to do. Show me what you're going to do.
I mean, it's right. What is Steven comes in 5+ years. It could be that. It could be that. Now, we're not saying it's going to be that to win a Super Bowl. Well, I'm saying it might be about 4 or 5 years before we're back in the playoffs and making some noise. It's going to be just about that. Next 2 or 3 years, I just want to see progress. That's all I want to see. The players we bring in, I want to see them have success. Similar to the Pistons game yesterday. You know, watching Jeremy Grant go off, but they still lost. It's promising. I want to see that for my young players. You know? And I guess only time will tell, but this is definitely different from the way we've handled business before. Bringing in all these football minds, guys who's been a part of the game, played the game, loves the game, and has those small little nicks that you can't get from a coach. And we talked about the small things that they can give to the players that they can kind of build off of, build on, and perfect their game. So I'm excited to hear it. I mean, I'm here for it. I love
what they have to do is something that we have seen too infrequently around here. They have to nail drafts. Period. End of story. They have to nail drafts. I mean, and I'll say this until I'm blue in the face. People around here talk about, going out and getting guys and signing free agents. That's not how you build a team. And when you have a crap foundation, really, what good player wants to come here unless you're going to vastly overpay them? And in the process of vastly overpaying them, you're screwing your team. So, you have to build through the draft. And so they have to prove what they haven't been able to do, fellas, and that we can draft effectively and get value out of the draft.
I tell you, of all the leagues, the NFL is the one I'm least interested in paying you for what you did do. I don't care what you did in New England. I don't care what you did with the New York Jets. I don't care what you did elsewhere. That's the NFL. It seems like a guy has his glory with the first team he plays for, and then for the most part, if he's one of these big name guys,
that's true, man. Look at Tom Brady.
Tom Brady's the GOAT, though. He's different. And what did they do with Tom Brady?
Look at Sue.
They didn't just bring him in. They just said, okay, we got Tom Brady now. We got to really upgrade this team. We got to give him receivers. We got to bring him Ndamukong Suh. We got to bring him whatever he wants. So they just didn't bring him in. They said, if we're bringing Tom Brady into our house, we got to make sure our house is clean. So they did things that they wouldn't have done with another quarterback.
All right, what about Peyton Manning? Did he do the same thing?
Once again, you're going Hall of Fame player.
You said Sue too. You said Sue too. Sue went to the Super Bowl twice after he left the Lions with 2 different teams.
Okay, but once again, a Hall of Fame player. For the most part, Damian Woody. Damian Woody, very good tackle from New England. He comes here. Sorry, he didn't play well here.
Everson Griffin.
Kyle Van Noy.
Mm-hmm.
Kyle Van Noy was just a bad deal. I mean, there's no other way to say it.
But left here and had better success and played better in New England.
But that wasn't a signing. That was a deal. And it was number one. They used him in typical Lion fashion. They used him in a way that didn't show his skill set. So immediately when he gets to New England, they put him in positions of favorability for him. That's where that screwed up.
And one of my favorites is Pat Swilling. Pat Swilling. What he did, what earned him money was he rushed the quarterback. He harassed the quarterback. So what do they do when they bring him in? They say, okay, we got Pat Swilling. We got this guy. He may be a little bit long in the tooth, but he can still get after the quarterback. They have him play zone. Mm-hmm. They have him drop back. He's not rushing the quarterback. They're trying to get him to cover running backs out of the back. But that's not what his forte was. So I think he could have worked out here if they would say, okay, this is what this dude does. He does one thing, brother, go get it. But now they say, no, we want to do this and be cute and everything and blah, blah, blah.
Steve said when you're going to the playoffs every other year, free agents would want to come. He said that with a wink. How'd that work out? I can't tell you what would have happened if that would have continued. I can tell you what happened in real time. How'd that work out? How'd the free agent market turn out for Detroit? Is there somebody that you grabbed that you were like, that guy's a stud, you can't live without him? Right? I mean, did it improve the team? Isn't that the point? If you got a playoff team every other year, okay, well, you go and get the free agents to make your team better. How'd that work out? You know the answer to that. I'm not trying to be a jerk. I mean, it's like, come on. You know what guys want to go, Joik? You know it as well as I do. The guys that you brought up, this is a perfect example to tie into what Steve said. Where did Tom Brady go? Tom Brady went to the Tampa Buccaneers, who were this close to winning a Super Bowl.
Close.
And you know what happened? By golly, they won a Super Bowl. Where did Peyton Manning go? Peyton Manning went to the Denver Broncos, who missed one piece. And even though he fell apart that last season, and he really did, he fell apart that last season. How'd that turn out? By golly, they won a Super Bowl. You know what I mean? You brought up Ndamukong Suh. What did Ndamukong Suh do? By golly, he went to a Super Bowl and then finally won a Super Bowl. You cannot be serious when you're talking about, well, if we go to the playoff every year, guys would want to come here. No, you know where guys are going to go? They're going to go to Indy. They're going to go to Denver. They're going to go to Tampa. You know what I mean? So that's not how you build.
You don't think they're going to go to Washington? You don't think they'll go to Washington?
For opportunity, I think so. Because what Washington, Washington's, I think, better than a 7-9 record, and there are pieces there that make you think that they might be better. But at the same time, to me, that's all right. Let's see where that can go. Where the Lions were always here, in that era, they were always here, right? Okay. They might go a little bit below that 9-7 mark. They might go a little bit above that 9-7 mark. But at the end of the day, who honestly looked at the Lions and said, "Man, the Lions are just a player away." I'm not being mean. I'm just spitting facts right now.
No, they're a player per position away.
Right. I mean, that's.
You saw what year was this?
Yeah, I mean, your era. We'll use your era. I mean, like, seriously. I mean, as good as 14 was, all right?
One coordinator away.
I'm not going to argue with that. I'm not going to argue with that.
Now, before this young man joined the team, here's what Lion players used to say. If a guy signed somewhere else as a free agent, they'd have like a little party for the player who's leaving, and it was, you have arrived. Now you're in the league. That was the mentality of when guys left the Detroit Lions.
What? I never heard of this.
It's because you're young.
In our era.
I never heard of this.
In our era. Now
what? No. What would happen now when they what?
When they were say, hey, I signed with,
like in the 90s.
Yeah, I signed with so and so, and congratulations, you've arrived. That was the mentality, and they have like a little cocktail or hors d'oeuvres and stuff like that, and wish them well. And said, now you've finally gotten into the NFL. Congratulations.
They have to change that narrative across the board. You know what? I'll say this again. We've talked about this.
That narrative.
Well, you know what I appreciate, and I've told you this, bringing back so many guys over the last few years that I never thought that I would see back at Ford Field, and having some of them tell me privately, and Terry, I'm sure that you were privy to some of these conversations. I never thought I was going to be back. I didn't think I was welcome. I didn't feel like I was part of this franchise. And that's that's part of the stuff. They have to fix that stuff. But most importantly, they have to fix what's on the field.
Yeah. I think community relations, they're doing a better job at reaching out to the alumni. Brandon Scott came in, and even after I left the team, he kept in contact with me about things that was going on around the city with the team. And it's good to be able to come back and feel welcome in an organization or a franchise that you've given so much of your life to. A lot of sacrifices you have to make. It's a lot of sacrifices you have to make in order to be a part of this great fraternity of men in this league. I mean, we make it, 1%, less than 1%. And it brings me to our next topic about, what the NFL, what they do for alumni once they're finished. Outside of money, things dealing with like mental health awareness, dealing with drug abuse, and things like that. Like, I don't think they do a good enough job of reaching out to players and making sure that they're doing everything they can to stay healthy, be healthy, or even just reaching out to be healthy. I think the NFL is in a lawsuit now because of certain things that's happening as far as the medical side of things, where they don't want to take care of some of the players, or they treat certain players different from other players.
And that's the shame of the league.
Absolutely.
It's a shame. I mean, they're in a lawsuit right now because right now, which the NFL is 70% African Americans. They feel that the disability for African Americans, we don't get the same treatment as the white athletes when it comes to putting in for your benefits for your disability. And so now you have a group of men that are suing the NFL because of that.
Didn't they say that black players had a lower intellect basis? So, if you guys were going around with your bell rungs, they wouldn't treat you the same as they did white players because you were expected to score low on intellectual type of things. Black players were. This is recent stuff.
These are recent studies.
Makes you sick to be a human.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, some kind of breaking news. I don't know how much of a shock it is, but the latest savior at the University of Michigan at the position of quarterback, Joe Milton, has entered the transfer portal.
Oh, my.
I'm not going to laugh.
I did.
I'm holding it inside. I'm holding it inside. But, yes, Joe Milton, who you should see how well he throws the ball, is entering the transfer portal. Remember, he was one of those guys. Like, there's this cute bit in town where for 2 years you talk about the next Michigan quarterback, the next great Michigan quarterback, and then when it's his turn to come play, all of a sudden he goes from being the next great Michigan quarterback to talking about the next great Michigan quarterback. He just never steps right into that spot.
The guy that we were trying to decide who was better, Joe Milton or Patrick Mahomes?
Yes.
That guy?
That guy.
Wow.
Joe. That guy who we watched play this year and deservedly so ended up on the bench. He just wasn't good. But the next guy, trust me, Stephen Threet, McCaffrey, we could go down a list of all the next Michigan quarterbacks. It's
How many September
great.
Heismans has Michigan won?
Oh, it's just... I couldn't even tell you how many September Heisman. I think Denard may have won it 3 times, didn't he? Didn't Denard Robinson win the September Heisman?
I think he only won it twice.
Was it twice?
Made the cover of Madden.
Yeah. I think he did it twice. So yeah, Joe Milton in the transfer portal. I don't think it's surprising. I mean, again, when you're anointed the savior for a couple of years and everybody's talking about how good you are, and then you go on the field and you perform as he did, and you eventually lose your job, which Jim Harbaugh was absolutely right to do. I think it's time for you to go take your talents elsewhere, to quote LeBron James.
Yeah, I think all the failed Michigan quarterbacks should become Chippewas. Just go to CMU. We'll ease you in. We might win a couple games with you. Fire up. We'll take you.
Don't worry.
Question.
Harbs is the quarterback whisperer. Don't worry. He'll get it right.
They had to set out a year, though. They go to Central, right? They'll set out a year?
Yes.
Yeah, they'll set out a year. But they went down to like a D1 AA. They can play right away, correct?
Oh, so you wanted to go to Wayne State. I see you trying to steal my
That's not. We're not D1 AA. We're D2.
Remember that? Who was the guy? I think it was your. I think it was your. Wasn't there some guy who transferred to Findlay that was just a stud? Do you remember who I'm talking about? Wasn't there a really good quarterback at Findlay?
No, I think that was Ashland.
Was it Ashland?
Billy Cudnoff.
Yeah, that's it.
That's Billy Cudnoff.
Real deal.
I'm gonna tell you this. You remember him from the Ashland game when we played him at Ashland.
How did that game turn out?
They had us 33-20 at half, and we came back and won by a touchdown.
How did you win? Was it like last minute? Was it a good play by a good player?
Yeah. We had a receiver catch a 45-yard touchdown. Yeah.
You should show Terry that clip. Seriously.
No.
He did something. You're trying to be modest.
He did. They used him as a wide receiver.
Yeah, he used me as a wide receiver.
Yeah.
That was my 6th touchdown of the game. But it was good. It was a good time. So Billy Cunningham. Now we had I checked up with him. I think I ran into his old coach and I asked about it. I said, "What is Billy Cunningham up to now?" I think he went to go play in the Canadian League for a while, and ended up finishing retiring there. Then I don't know what happened next, but he was a a damn good quarterback.
He was a good quarterback.
He was damn good.
Yeah,
I mean,
he was a good quarterback.
He's top 3 quarterbacks I've ever played against on the college level.
You know what's funny, T, and the reason we bring this up is because a lot of times you think a D1 guy is going to come down to D2 and just own it. It hasn't worked that way. He's an exception.
Yeah.
He's definitely but by that time, a lot of these guys, I mean, the ego just took a bruise. I mean, there's no other way to say it. And but there have been a few times where a guy moved down and you thought, oh my gosh, what's he going to do in D2?
I'm going to tell you another guy it didn't really work for. Ashton Martin. I don't know if you Grand Valley.
Yeah.
Didn't really work for him. Came over from UT, left Toledo, went over to Grand Valley. One of the reasons I didn't go there because they were just that's what they were doing. And so when I got there for my visit, and only thing I heard, well, Ashton Martin, he's coming here from D1. He basically has it sold up. I'm like, well, you guys haven't seen me play yet. I can't even get an opportunity to fight for it. All right, I'll just see you the next 4 years. That's fine. I'll go elsewhere. But yeah.
Kennedy said Finley has a football team. Yes,
they do. They're in the GLIAC.
They've been pretty good. Yeah, they were. They left. But they were. And Terry, you'll appreciate this: the best halftime meal by 5 miles that you'll find in D2. You know why?
Finley?
Yeah, it's barbecue.
Oh, I'm all in. Cool.
Ribs, pulled pork, brisket. I love going to Finley. Schedule Finley, guys, all right? We're going to come back, talk about, what the NFL can do to, help some of these guys after their career. Your heart breaks when you hear the stories about Vincent Jackson. And you know what? A guy that you'd have never thought would have come out and talked on the behalf of people like Vincent Jackson came out and did just that. We'll tell you about it when we come back. Terry Foster in the house. He's Joik Bell. I'm Sean Baligian. So glad you could join us, Woodward Sports.
I'm looking to bring on another HVAC tech right now.
We are recruiting 5 to 10 techs a month.
We're looking to grow and expand.
Every new tech we hire is from Northwestern Tech.
The hands-on training is fantastic.
They're always my first call.
We love hiring Northwestern Tech grads.
They come out trained and ready to work.
Our program is only 10 and a half months, and our next classes are starting soon. So why wait?
I'm looking to hire
a graduate of Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
All right, welcome back in. You hate hearing about stories like this. Vincent Jackson was a young man, and I can say that because old guy jokes aside, I'm 50 years old, and you don't realize how young you are, when you're still in your 30s. And, we still don't, correct me if I'm wrong, we still don't know the official cause of death, but one of the factors being attributed to his death is he had developed a serious drinking problem, his family said, after he left the game. And one guy who has been very motivational to me is Ryan Leaf. I love guys that can redeem themselves, that can take a bad situation and make it good. I think far too often in life we're ready to cast aside somebody who screws up in life, right? And I'm a second chance guy. I'm a sucker for it. Sometimes you get burned by it, but whatever. But Ryan Leaf suddenly has been very active on Twitter, talking about, sharing his story about, you want to talk about a disaster. Right. Ryan Leaf was a disaster. Ryan Leaf would be the first person to tell you that he was a disaster. But I'm glad that there are people out there saying, hey, you know what, keep fighting. If I can turn my life around, you can. But NFL, this just in, you have to do a better job of caring for some of these guys that have cared for you.
It's bigger than just the NFL, right? It's people like me. It's people like Stephen Tulloch. It's people like Calvin, Rob Sims, Lance Moore. It's people like that we have a circle to where we always keep in contact, whether it's once a month or every few months. We'll always check in to make sure, like, how are you? Like, how's everything? What do you have going on? Because sometimes you just really want somebody to talk to, and sometimes, like, I stay in contact with a lot of guys that I play with. If I play with you 1 year, 2 years, like I played with CJ Spiller 5 months. We still talk often, probably a few times every few months. We'll hop on the line. How's everything? Oh, you getting married? How's the kids? And we do these check-ins, right? Because you can't be vulnerable with everyone. You can't tell everyone your issues, your problems. But when you have people that's going through similar things you're going through, it's easier to talk to those guys. I had a teammate who will call me, and he played a good amount of years in the league. He called and asked me for money. And I'm like, well, what's going on? Like, is everything okay? I didn't, he like, yeah, something's going on with the bank. I left it there. I said, whatever you need, sent it. And I was okay with it because if he couldn't pay me back, then it was fine. It wasn't going to destroy our friendship. And then called him back a few months later just to check on him. And he told me, like, just living day by day, taking it day by day. I said, well, let me connect you with someone real quick. I was able to connect with someone, was able to get him financially stable, and now he's doing much better. But it's just these conversations. If I don't call you and check on you and ask you these questions, I don't know. And I think we have to do a better job, not just the NFL, but as players, making sure that we're keeping in touch with our brothers that we play with. If it really is a brotherhood, let's treat it like a brotherhood. Right? And so that's why I'm able to have a lot of my friends come on the show, because I keep in contact with these guys over the years. And then with the younger guys, I put them under my wing, and like, this is how you operate. So when we're done, so I'm done. I'm 3 or 4 years removed from the game, but I'm still in contact with a lot of guys that I play with that are still playing. So
T, what can be done about this?
Well, we need to get the league to get off their ass and want to spend some money. First of all, I always go back to the conversation I had with James Jones, and he was running back for the Lions. And what they did with James Jones was he was supposed to have a good season. They ran him 8 times in the first quarter. He's the starting running back. Blew out his knee, he was done. And he told me, in the NFL, especially running backs, we're just expendable. They get every ounce they can out of us. We go down, and that's it. You don't hear from your team. You don't hear from general manager. You don't hear from the league. But all the while, they're talking about camaraderie. We love you. Look at this. Look what he did. Look at this 80-yard run. But then they just dump you. I think NFL players, they're not even commodities. It's like when you go to McDonald's, you eat that Big Mac, and then you take the carton and you throw it out the window, which we're not supposed to do. We're not supposed to litter, but I think that's what they do with NFL players. And
Joik, is that the sentiment? Is that the sentiment amongst guys? I'm not trying to put you on the spot.
As far as players?
Yeah. Do people feel that way?
you feel like a Big Mac carton.
I mean, a running back is the most undervalued position on the field, So when guys hold out on their contracts or they do what they have to do to get more money when they're supposed to get it, to your example you talked about earlier, you said that you don't want to pay a player off what you've already done. Mm-hmm. I want to see what you do here. Well, if that's the case, how would any running back get paid? How would we get paid? You see what I'm saying? Like, how can we get paid?
I wouldn't pay you.
Exactly. And so that's
I'll be honest.
Honest. But you want the NFL to pay money for players that's out the league. You're not even in the league no more.
Right.
But you don't want to take care of the people that's making you money now. It doesn't make any sense. Why do you think they care about us after we're done playing when they don't even take care of us while we're playing?
What's the average of the running back?
2.6 years.
You know it right off the top of your head. And I think a lot of teams take that into consideration.
Yeah, and that's their excuse, right, for not giving us guaranteed contracts, right? Why would we put our money into a used car? We know you're going to break down. 100% injury rate. Why would we give you a guaranteed contract? Because we earned it. Because we earned it. And now the only thing once you become a veteran, you used to have lifetime health care. Basketball has it. NBA has it. You play 10 years in the NBA, you have lifetime health care. You never have to worry about that ever again. A lot of players go broke. The number one cause of a player going broke outside the NFL is medical bills to his family, which is what it is. And so why not take that off of veterans play? Play 12 years. Why do I have to in the NFL? 10+ years in the NFL. Why do we have to play? Why do we have to pay health care? Why?
I make it 5 years.
It is 5 years right now.
Okay.
5 years removed. But why?
Maybe 1 year. Now, because of all the sports, when you leave football, there's going to be something wrong with you.
Mm-hmm.
It might be a broken finger. If you're lucky, it may be you don't know where you're going.
If you're lucky, I never had any broken bones.
That's amazing.
That is crazy.
Because you weren't
Never.
the little scat
I actually,
back.
you know what's funny? I grew an extra bone.
How you grow an extra bone?
So
where is
it's
this
called
bone?
so it's called heterotopic ossification. Basically, I took a hit to the ankle, and it tried to heal itself. So what it did, it grew an extra. It's a lot of calcium buildup between my tibia and fibia, and so basically it's like a little space between it. So when you walk, it gives a little bit. Well, I grew a bone between that while it healed itself.
That's a bad man. You
Yeah.
grow a bone.
Yeah. So yeah. So
I'm not arguing with you anymore.
It's happened twice. It's happened twice.
Your bone's going to come out of your forehead like a unicorn and stab me.
So,
I don't need that
that's
in my
what it's
life.
called. Heterotopic ossification happened in my left ankle. Actually happened twice. You remember
little
Dr.
picture of
Milia?
this?
You remember Dr. Milia?
Yeah.
So Dr. Milia did my first surgery. He said that was the first time he ever seen it, and that was the last time he ever operated on something like that. And
No
so it happened again. I'm like, would you do it again? He said, I haven't done it since you. He said, that was the first and last time I've done that. He said, because what they're afraid of removing too much bone into making the ankle unstable. And so I still have it now, so it's not bothering me. It's not bothering me now, but when I played, it would cause swelling because the bones didn't have room to move. But it was towards the tail end of my career, so I was fine with it.
Yeah.
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 It's cool.
It's an extra bone growing.
It's extra bone.
You know, one of the most exciting players when I was a kid, I told you, I love Billy, right? Love Billy. But
Yeah.
we talked about this the other day, Terry. What people don't understand is when Billy blew his knee out, that was it. That was done. That was a different era where, don't worry, we'll get you surgery.
Get you surgery.
Billy was done.
He was done.
But another guy from that era that was really exciting was Tony Dorsett.
Yeah.
And I saw an interview with Tony Dorsett not too long ago, and honestly, it breaks your heart. He's a mess, and I'm not saying that to be mean. He's a mess. He's a mess mentally. He's a mess physically, and he doesn't know he's a mess because half the times he doesn't remember what's going on. And you see things like that, and it breaks your heart, especially, and it doesn't matter if he was a guy that you really enjoyed watching, and I loved watching Tony Dorsett play. I mean, those, when I was a kid, I would say those were my two favorite players. It was Billy Sims and Tony Dorsett.
Yeah.
And you see this, and it goes back to what you were saying, T. Foss, and what Ryan Leaf came out and said. Ryan Leaf said, my brothers are dying, and nobody's doing a gosh damn thing about it. And it's like, we all have to start banging this drum. Like, don't play poverty, NFL. You are making so much money. It's a joke.
My question to you guys: what would be the alternative? Like, what should the NFL do? What do you think they should do? They should have programs. Should they have people reaching out to these players on a weekly, monthly basis, checking in, sending out letters? I'll play for the Bears 4 weeks. All right, 4 weeks. They're contacting me like this is not the NFL. This is the team. This is their organization. They're contacting me on a monthly basis. Letters. If you need financial help, don't be afraid to reach out. These are the type of letters that they're sending their players, their alumni guys, right? I probably get about 6 or 7 letters from the Bears a year.
Don't say nice things about the Bears, please.
I understand what you're saying.
Because I hate the Bears. Don't make me think nice things.
But this is what the NFL. But this is what the NFL could be doing, all right, for their players, right? The league, not the teams, like the league. The teams can do something, and the NFL can do something, right? But it's not reciprocated throughout the entire NFL. It's not.
Why doesn't the league do more? Do you guys? Is there an answer?
Because they want their money. They want to keep it.
They're business people.
Yeah.
And
they got skinflint owners. And God, I can't afford that 200-foot yacht if we do this. But really what the NFL should do, because the sport is so violent, have like it's almost your own healthcare system.
Yeah.
And just take care, put all the players under an umbrella, give them health care. If something is wrong, they come to your facility. That's what the Army did for my father.
That's a great idea.
My father was in the Army. He used to go to the Army hospital on the Detroit River off of Alta Road, but that's the way they had it set up for them. You messed up, you served your country. We're gonna try to help you as far as your medical stuff. Now, it was other stuff that's too bad. But from that standpoint, they had him under an umbrella. They included the family. And NFL doesn't even have to include the family. It is well known that league is dangerous. I would not want somebody to give me a football and tell me to run into this pile of 300-pound men who can run a 4.8 40, by the way. Wouldn't want to do that. So, if you do that 200-300 times a year, you're going to get messed up. The other thing, it's not like the NFL is pleading poverty. They're making billions of dollars. They got the TV they don't need people in the stands to make money. Take care of your players.
Amen.
Be humanitarians.
But don't pay them when it comes to contract negotiations. Don't pay them. Pay them pennies.
Well, no. You'll get your money. You're not gonna play for my team. You can go play somewhere else.
Yeah, you'll never win a championship there. Sorry.
No.
You'll never win a championship.
You're not gonna win a championship when you're getting a guy who, in my estimation, for the most part, is not going to be as good as he was with this other team.
How do you know that?
It's a young man's league.
You can only base it's a young man's league, but Tom Brady just won one. Sue just in year 12 just won a Super Bowl.
I think by position though, it's fair to say that though, isn't it? Like for running backs now,
AP still productive.
But would you rather Opay?
So what do you consider young? 2-3 years? Not a vet. Anybody? So a veteran is 4 years. So after 4 years, you're not the same anymore, because you're a veteran now.
It's pretty much. But a lot of times when you get these guys, they're 30. That's like being 90 in the NFL.
That's not 30. That's 10 years in the league. That's 10 seasons.
Not interested.
Well, you know as well as I do. There's a reason why, Joy, everybody thinks 30 is the magic number, and we ooh and ah at guys like Frank Gore. And we ooh and ah at those guys that are able to keep going past 30. Yeah. Because how many times for every Frank Gore, there's a Sean Alexander, there's a Priest Holmes, there's a Larry Johnson, where for whatever reason, like, it's over. For whatever reason, it's just, the wear and tear. I don't know. You lived it. I don't know.
You know what? A lot of the time your hunger can leave, right? Your hunger can leave. Like that fire that once used to be inside of you that kept you going, you're satisfied now, all right? And now I'm just in it, I'm a still a little bit. I'm a still. We call it stilling, all right? We call it stilling, where when you get to the tail end of your career or you're hurt, we'll walk into the training room. We'll see people that might be on IR or they might be hurt. They out for a couple weeks. You say, man, hey, I might go to my boys and say, hey, look at such and such. He over there stealing. He's stealing right now. And it's just a joke amongst the boys, right? He over there stealing. But
would I give AP a $1 million contract last year? I think that's a low risk signing. Absolutely.
Yes, I
but
would.
He's not going to get the big money anymore. And I think that's what Terry's saying. And would I sign a guy like that for a smaller number? Sure. Show me what you got. It's not much of a risk and everything. But I'm not throwing money at him.
We're talking guy. When he says older players, a veteran is now an older player. That's 4 years in the NFL. You're an older player now. At running back, you're definitely an older player. Definitely, right? So then let's think of a running back who played, take any position. Say you take a Kelvin Johnson in, say, year 9. Are you going to pay him that big money? Are you going to pay Kelvin Johnson that big money? Just
like $20 million a year?
I would say let's say $18 million a year. 18. Calvin Johnson.
I feel that I would have to because, one, Calvin Johnson was still productive, and he's a name. He is a name that's going to make my product better. He's not your run-of-the-mill player. He's a
But he's an older player. But he's an older player, though, right?
Once again, we're talking – everybody you bring up is a Hall of Fame player.
It don't matter. They're an older player. It does not matter. You said older player.
How about older player not headed for Canton? How about that?
All right, tell me a player that's getting that big contract, all right, later in his career that's not headed to Canton. Huh?
That's a good example.
Okay.
That's a
great example.
That's a good example.
That's a great example.
Golden's a good player.
He's a good player.
He got a contract that I don't care that Bob Quinn was right. You could not pay that money. I wanted Golden to stay here more than you could shake a stick at. I think everybody did. Yeah. But you can't pay that money to Golden Tate. Somebody else was going to go do that.
You can't, but you also saw that immediately go downhill.
Oh.
Inside the locker room and on the field. You're absolutely right. Golden was a liked player. Golden as a human being, loved talking to him. But when you basically say in late October, we're letting Golden go and we're only getting a draft pick for him, you know what you're telling the rest of the team? See you next year, boys.
Yep.
That's basically what happened. What are you staring at me for? You look like that bone's going to come out of your forehead and stab me, and I don't need that in my life.
He disagrees.
I'm not saying I disagree. But like no. You said it went straight downhill for going. What was downhill?
No,
for?
It went downhill for the Lions. Is what he's saying.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it went straight down.
That's why I was trying to put it together.
No.
Could Golden
that year was over. Okay. That year was over.
Okay, all right. I was making sure. Could Golden he's a lights out player. I love playing with Golden. When Calvin was down, he always came through. He was one of those guys who is not too many guys like it can flip a switch.
You know, I always bring up, and I know I've said this to you before. I'm going to say it before with Terry. Ron Rice, Eastern Michigan's own, longtime safety in the National Football League. I told you I was watching a game with him 13, 14 years ago, and Marion Barber. I love the way Marion Barber ran angry. I loved there was maybe a 2-year span where Marion Barber was always doing Derrick Henry things to people. Maybe not to that extreme. But he just ran with a purpose. And I told you, I'll never forget, Ron Rice looked at me, he goes, this guy's going to be out of the league in 2 years. I'm looking at him, what are you talking about, man? He's only been in the league a couple of years. He goes, you cannot run that way in the National Football League. Guess what? Cowboys let him go. Goes, signs with Chicago, got one contract, he was done. Never got a second league. That's that position. That's it. I mean, Joik, seriously, you've been in thousands of car crashes in your life. I mean, that's what a running back in the National Football League does.
That's what it is, though. But that's where there's times when you're running back where you have to run that type of way. And then there's other times when you know when to go down, you know when it's over. It's going to help protect you. It's going to extend it's going to give you more longevity in your career. And then I don't know what he was doing in the off season to take care of his body. I don't know what he was doing after games to take care of his body. But I was that big bruiser. I would go in there and I would take it, but I don't think I was taking. Actually, I was giving the hits. I wasn't bundled up. I was delivering the blow every time, and that's one thing about my game where I think I was able to stay healthy. I kept my feet moving, and just for me as a player, I knew my game, and I had to reinvent myself once I got into the NFL because the same things I was doing in college, I couldn't do in the NFL. It's just the talent in the NFL was just too much.
Well, I told you, I'm never going to begrudge, and Terry, I don't know if you feel this way, I'm never going to begrudge a player for going out and trying to get his money. I mean, your window of opportunity is that much.
Much.
I'm never, if you have some guy that's willing to do it, go get your money.
Right. Well, Draymond Green is taking a lot of heat because of the other day he talked about how owners and fans, if a team makes a decision on a player, it's okay. If a player makes a decision on the player, for instance, LeBron James, I'm going to go to Miami, I'm going to go back to Cleveland, or all these quarterbacks in the NFL saying, you know what, I'm out. J.J. Watt, I'm out. When they decide, you know what, I've had enough of this team, then they get criticism. And he said that's not fair.
I don't get it. I'm with you.
Yeah, it's not fair, but I don't understand why he's taking heat. Why is he taking heat?
Because fans don't like players to take ownership of themselves. You're commodities. You entertain me.
And why do they feel that way?
I do not know. I've been fighting that all my life.
I'm with him there. You and I have talked about it. I'm never, ever.
How did you feel when I went to the Bears?
I hated the fact that you went to the Bears. You know that. I cursed your name. I pissed on a picture of yours. But you know what? Good for you for going to get paid. Was that what was best for you in your life at that moment?
Yes.
Then who the hell am I to say that that's not what's best for you in your life? Mm-hmm. I don't like to tell people to do what's best for them.
So you had to piss on my picture?
Yeah, I did. In a Bears uniform. Dude, it wasn't you. It's the Bears. I hate the Bears.
No, but his face is still in
my
that
face
picture.
is in there.
Yeah, it's true.
I didn't
so
burn any
disrespectful.
of your
Jake.
stuff.
Sorry, Jake. No, I didn't burn any of your stuff. No, but like, who am I to tell Terry Foster, Joyke Bell, or anybody for that matter, no, this is what's best for your life.
Yeah.
I don't want you telling me what's best for my life. So, and that's, I think, unfortunately, Terry, you're 2,000% right.
To stop doing dip. Stop cooking red meat every single week.
That's not. Listen, you're talking about things that are never going to happen.
Hey, but listen,
all right.
this is what I want for you. You know
you.
what? I'm gonna go home. I'm gonna put on the episode. I'm gonna piss on it. I'm gonna put on your episode of the what's that? The smoke show.
The smoke show.
The smoke show. I'm gonna piss on it.
Hey, with the average price for an ounce of Michigan recreational dispensaries coming in at $300, why not just grow your own? With just one light, you can pull down up to 36 ounces each harvest. Do the math and then go see our guys at Grow Green. They have everything you need to start growing today and the knowledge to make sure that you crush it. Mention Woodward Sports for a free shirt. Oh, so we're hearing some rumors about the quarterback carousel. We'll get into that when we come back. Don't go anywhere. Terry Foster, Joyke Bell, glad you could join us here on Woodward Sports.
Hey, it's Joey from Woodward Sports, and I am here in downtown Fenton at Bridge Street Exchange. This place has so many amazing things for guys. And ladies, this is the hidden spot that you got to come check out. I'm talking thorough good boots, best boots ever. They have barware. They got the Stormy Cromer hats. They got Carhartt hats, a huge Carhartt selection. They even got Snoop Dogg underwear. So go check them out, bridgestreetexchange.com, and use the code word WSN for 15% off.
Hey, what's up? Glad you could join us wherever you may be all over the great state of Michigan. Always a pleasure to have Terry Foster in here as well. You know what? We're trying to find out, Steve. We always appreciate you, Steve. You know that. I appreciate you. Evidently, a deal with the Colts and the Eagles has been consummated. That is being reported. I know Steve is on top of things, and so we appreciate it. We're looking for official confirmation. Maz is going to get that. No disrespect to you, Steve. I hope you know that. But Steve said Wentz to the Colts for a third. You got it? Thank you, Maz. Philadelphia has agreed to trade Carson Wentz to the Colts in exchange for a 2021 third-round pick and a conditional 2022 second-round pick that could turn into a first. So Carson Wentz, the Colts found their quarterback. All the people that were hoping, thanks, Maz. Here, Maz, you ready? 3, 2, 1. Nice catch. All the people that thought, Joyke, that maybe the Lions could flip a guy like Jared Goff, they flip Carson Wentz, and that's a damn good deal for the Colts as far as I'm concerned. No. They were absolutely positively without a quarterback. And why not take a chance on Carson Wentz? As we talked about yesterday, look, he's not the same guy.
Right.
He just isn't. And I think that goes back to what you were just talking about. You're more apt to give a quarterback that second chance than you are to give a running back that second chance, man. That's just the way that it is. But that's a pretty good deal, all things considered, right? Third and a conditional second that could be a first depending on how well he does.
Right.
If he does well, then that's a good thing for Indianapolis, and I don't think they have an issue making a deal like that.
No, they don't. Because you got to think, if he comes in and he does well, That's their first round pick.
Yep. Absolutely.
He was our first round pick.
That's what it comes back to.
Now, do they still go out and get another quarterback, say next year or the year after? Of course. They need to. He's been inconsistent, but he's going to go to a team. He's going to go to a team, and you never know. It might be a new environment. You might see a new Carson Wentz. I mean,
isn't that funny? I mean, here, two guys that 2 years ago, just 2 years ago, we thought were going to be prominent NFL starters for years to come that looked like they were on the trajectory to Manning and Brady. Two guys have been dealed in Goff and Wentz. It's amazing how things can change in the National Football League. Now, Wentz, obviously, it was because of a horrific knee injury. Goff was for a myriad of reasons, but that's how quickly things can change in the National Football League.
I always thought that Goff was a good quarterback. Even when they went to the Super Bowl, he was playing well, but it was certain things about his game that I would pick up as a player, like his arm strength, some of the throws he would make, some of the decisions he would make, how he would react in certain parts of the game where the pressure was on. It was certain things like that that you can't see by looking at his numbers, right? By looking at his numbers, because he had good numbers the year they went to the Super Bowl.
Oh, he was sick.
Yeah,
really, he was on his way to winning the MVP. He really was.
Yeah, but like I said, it was certain things that I saw in this game that made me question. But
you know what? A scout told me that too. No joke.
What?
A scout told me the exact same thing.
Yeah.
He said, I think there's a lot of smoke and mirrors with the way that Peterson is putting in Wentz in positions to succeed, which any quarterback should do. Hey, shout out to Joe Lombardi. But any coach should put his team in positions of favorability. But it's funny you say that because, honestly, a scout told me that.
Yeah, and it was just through watching. And when Wentz going to the Colts, I want to see if we can see a rebirth in his career because he's on a really good team. And that good defense might be all he needs to kind of, you know what, I'm the last piece. I can go here. You know, it could be a Tom Brady situation, but not quite the talent, right, or the experience. But no, what I'm saying is I think he can go there, and it could be something similar to what Tampa Bay did this past year.
You know, it also gives me an opportunity to remind people, and when Scott Bischoff comes in, we're going to talk about it. Why not take a flyer on a guy like Jalen Hurts later in the draft? Doesn't make any sense to me. Jalen Hurts is sitting there. Okay, you don't get your heir apparent, okay? How would you feel right now if the Detroit Lions had Jalen Hurts ready to replace Matthew Stafford? I'd be happy as a pig in slop. I'm not, no joke, I'd be happy as a pig in slop. Obviously, they feel so good about him in Philly that he's their guy now. That's their guy. And you know as well as I do, here's the business part of things, okay? There's the money that a guy like a Carson Wentz or a Jared Goff or a Matthew Stafford is going to get on that first contract, right? And then there's the money that a Jalen Hurts is going to get on his first contract based on where he was picked. And of course, don't forget the extra year. NFL teams love control. But how would that fit into the schematics of a team like the Lions right now, having your heir apparent, a guy that you took later in the draft, and telling him, hey, you know what I'd do? I would be Captain BS. You, Jalen Hurts, you know what I'd say? Jalen, it's your team now. Part of the reason why we got rid of Matthew Stafford, we're not going to say it publicly. Part of the reason we got rid of Matthew Stafford is because we believe in you. This is your team now, Jalen. Okay? When people talk about the Detroit Lions, they're going to talk about Jalen Hurts. You are the man. And you know what? Be patient with us the next couple of years. We are going to build everything around you.
You know what's funny?
What's that?
I had a talk with Wentz, and I'm Jalen Hurts now. If you
Okay.
guys haven't picked
Hi,
up.
Jalen. How are you?
Good. I'm doing well. I had a conversation with Wentz, and I asked him how was it when he came in and he had got the starting position. How was it? You know what he told me? He told me you guys told him the exact same thing you just told me. Save your bullshit. Just let me go out here and play.
Jalen, baby. Things change. We got rid of Matthew Stafford. Yeah. We got rid of Carson Wentz. You know why? You.
You know what's funny? When the next quarterback comes in, you do the same to me.
There is no next quarterback.
Oh.
Then I'd sing to you.
Yeah.
I would say I'd say I only have eyes for you.
Father Time always wins.
I would say Jalen. Listen,
Father Time always win.
Yeah, but here he's
Jalen, baby.
Jalen, honey, baby. He's 22 years old. He's a second-round pick. Are you like seriously? I'd be ecstatic right now if a guy like that was in Detroit. Now in Philly,
right now, you'll be happy with that right now.
Jalen Hurts at
Right
22 years old, 1,000%.
Right now, we'll build around.
1,000%.
We'll build around him.
Yes. I personally think now Scott can yell at me.
I like that we have I like the idea of a 22-year-old quarterback.
I thought that people were doing the same crap to Jalen Hurts a year ago that they did to Lamar Jackson. And when Scott comes in, I'll ask him because we had this. I said, all right, is there something I'm missing about Jalen Hurts? Is there something? Because all I've seen is this guy go and have success. All I've seen is this guy go and win. Am I missing something? Is there some knock against him?
What was his best game to you last year?
I didn't see him a lot because I was always busy on Lions game day.
Did you like the I'll tell you a game that I really they lost this game, but it was a really good game. The game against the Cardinals. You remember that against Murray? He ended up losing that game, but he played a great game.
Oh, him and Kyler going back and forth. Yeah, I remember. That was an afternoon game.
Yeah,
because I was home from work.
I remember that. So that's when I saw him play. They lost that game, but I saw something in him that game that made me say, "Wow." I
love the kid. And it was funny because I like Joik. Honestly, for whatever reason, sometimes people like we talked Lamar Jackson. Just a lot of guys didn't like him. So when you would ask him, "Am I missing something?" When a guy can't answer you, that tells me all I need to know. Do you know what a lot of people said about Jalen Hurts? He's 6'1". Don't shoot the messenger. That was the mindset. Okay, Jalen Hurts,
because he's different.
Was at Alabama.
He's not a Peyton Manning high. He's not a Tom Brady. He's not your prototype quarterback.
Yes, thank you, man.
Right.
He's a winner.
Right.
He's a winner.
Right.
So to me, it's like, really? Is that why? And maybe that's why a guy like Drew Brees went later in the draft than he should have. He had an illustrious career at Purdue.
Yeah.
I saw him when he was at Purdue, as a matter of fact. And but because he's not 6'1", I've heard, you could tell me, Joik, I've heard he's closer to 5'10", but that's a story for a different day.
Question, was Sproles with Breeze in San Diego, or was that they missed each other there?
I think he was the X factor behind LaDainian Tomlinson when they were there. Darren Sproles out of K-State. Yeah, I think he was like the X factor guy.
Right, and that's how he ended up with the Saints when I was there.
Is that what it was, really?
Yeah, so he came to the Saints going into my second year. So he came in, he came in. You know his number was 43, and for a lot of people who don't know this, I was number 43 when I was with New Orleans, and we talked about this. He came in, he wanted the number.
Made a deal, and he still hasn't paid you.
He still hasn't paid me yet.
What's up, Sproles?
What's up, Sproles? Let's get you on the show, Sproles. Huh? It was
a brisket.
Yeah.
A brisket.
Yeah, it was up there. It was a good number.
You told me Sean Payton basically negotiated it?
No, so what he did was I'm walking down the hall, and I'm walking, and I get into the locker room, and Coach Payton is walking through the locker room. I said, Coach Payton, I'm like, do I really have to give up 43 to Sproles? He was like, you don't have to, but, he's coming in. He's going to be playing a lot. It might be, good for you to work out a deal. I said, no, I'm going to work out a deal with him because I really don't care for 43. But if I got to get rid of it, I'm going to get something out of it.
Businessman. You hear that, Naz? Joke's a businessman.
I'm a businessman. And so I said, no, I'll work out a deal with him. I kind of gave him I gave him the evil smile, the evil smirk. And then I gave him the evil smirk. He said, now, don't hit him over the head now. Don't hit him over the head. Just, make sure it's fair. I said, okay. And so I'm only a second-year player, so I really don't know how this work exactly. So who do I go to? I go to my guy, Big Baby, Sean Rogers. I said, Big Baby, now, how much would you pay for your number? How much would you? He said, for me, I need my. If I had, I'll pay 100 bands to have my number. I said, well, I ain't gonna. I said, would you pay 20 bands for your number? He said, I'll pay 20. I said, if it was my number, I would pay 20 bands for my number. My number is dear to my heart. I want my number if I'm playing. I said, okay, I'm not gonna charge 20. I'm not gonna hit him over the head like that. I'm gonna be fair. I'll charge 2,000. It was 2,000. Now, that's not even 10% of your paycheck. Just 10. It was 2,000. And so we agreed on it. You know what he offered me the first time? he offered me a steak dinner.
Now,
me-
you know me. I would have taken it.
Yeah, you would have taken. He would have. I
Deal.
said, no. You gotta understand. You can go buy your own steak dinner with $2,000. You can go buy your own steak dinner. And so he was like, yeah, deal.
Make my own.
So we swapped it out, and he's been on me ever since. But I always have that over his head.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I don't want the money. I don't really want it anymore. But like, it's just to say, yeah, you owe me. Don't forget that.
You know what, Joy? You know,
give me my money, Sproles.
Get me like a gift certificate to the butchery or something. It's like, you deal. I get to go buy my own steaks. Deal. I'd be easy.
Yeah.
Hey, Sean, do you want to sell your car? Yeah, just get me a gift certificate. Here, truck's yours. Good luck. Right? And that's how simple I am.
You know what, man? I'm gonna take you to a nice steakhouse downtown.
Will you eat with me?
Yeah, I'm gonna have something vegan.
Will you eat steak with me?
No, I have something vegetarian.
Well, all right. Well, I told you you're coming over my house.
Yeah,
and I respect you.
You don't even know. I'm bringing some veggie burgers over.
Well, I was gonna say there's no way in Hades I'm gonna try to make you eat meat. You know that. I respect that. You do you. So if you don't want any, I'll make sure I get some of that plant-based or whatever it's called.
All right, cool. Give me some. Get the Beyond patties.
What's it called?
Beyond meat.
Beyond patties.
Yeah,
all right.
Beyond meat.
I can do that. All right, I can do that. No, you know what's interesting? Art saying you have a guest here, Joik. Is that what I'm understanding? Joik, did you know about the live broadcast, ladies and gentlemen? This is how we roll sometimes. But evidently, you have a guest here. Is this are we surprising Joik Bell today? Is that how this works?
I don't know who it is.
No, I don't know who the guest is.
All right.
I don't know.
Yeah, they said that you were expecting him. Where did he go? Hang on, I'll find him.
Okay, fantastic. We'll figure this out.
We'll figure it out. Okay, I'm surprised.
So
now.
thanks for the
I'm
heads
excited.
up to our buddy Steve, by the way, for letting us know that. That's a great deal for the Colts. That, you know what? See what Carson Wentz has. If Carson Wentz doesn't have anything, then you move on. You try to find yourself Jalen Hurts or something. But honestly, for me, I was somebody that was banging the drum for Jalen Hurts. I would love a guy like Jalen Hurts to be here right now.
You know what? It was a clip of him when he was at Oklahoma, and they had just played a game, and I don't know. I think they might have won or lost, but he was in the weight room after the game with his uniform still on. He just had his shoulder pads off. He was in there working out, and they interviewed him. I think and I'm paraphrasing. He said, "Job's not done yet. We still got more work to do," and it's that type of mentality I like. I mean, it might be cheesy to some people, but if that's what he does on a day-to-day basis, that's the type of guy I want in my locker room on my team. Because I remember I would walk into the locker room when I played for the Colts, and I would see Peyton. Now, he wasn't lifting weights, but he'll be in there with his bands, making sure he's doing his functions with his body work. And, I'll go into a weight room, and I'll see Drew Brees in there before and after practice. And then their work ethic is showed on the field with the way that they play. There's no way you can cheat the grind. Hear me? Mass, there's no way you can cheat it. Right? I tell everybody it's about P's and O's, preparation and opportunity. You can't control opportunity. You can only be prepared for it once you get there. Like, these guys are the ultimate preppers for a season, for a game, and I kind of see that in Jalen Hurts.
You know what's interesting, and with Maz sitting in here, I'm sure he knows this. The knock on Eli Manning early in his career, if you remember. The knock on Eli Manning was he doesn't put in the prep work like Peyton does. And I always thought that was unfair. You know why? Nobody puts in the prep work like Peyton Manning.
No.
I mean, he was insane. It's you lived it. He's telling his offensive coordinators what's going on in the game instead of, vice versa. You know what I mean?
How many Super Bowls does Eli have?
Eli's got 2, just
Against
like his
who?
brother.
Against
just
who?
like his brother.
Against who?
New England Patriots. Both of them.
Exactly.
Both of them.
Exactly.
Yeah, just like his brother. So it's amazing how Kennedy said more of that barbecue tofu. I'll hook you up, Kennedy. Kai said that evil smirk.
That evil smirk.
I don't need that bone coming out of your forehead, dude. No. Speaking of Manning, you brought it up. There is still a debate.
It's not a debate, but
it isn't a debate anymore. You're right.
It's not a debate.
You know, here, 10 years ago, I was one of those people who engaged in this debate. 10 years ago, I said Peyton Manning. 10 years ago. I openly admit it. 10 years ago, I thought Peyton Manning was better than Tom Brady. Then I watched Peyton Manning, the last few years of his career, kind of wind down. And you have to include even the end where he couldn't throw the ball much more than 15 yards. You have to include that. And I watched Tom Brady, and I say there is no debate. Tom Brady's better. And I told you I had a similar kind of moment, maybe, I think it was the Super Bowl against the Falcons. When they're getting hammered, it's 28-3, and Brady comes and brings them back. They come roaring back. And I said to myself, Sean, you're being that guy that you always say you detest. And then Sean said to me, what do you mean? I said, aren't you the guy that always says you can't stand those generational arguments and the old guys who always talk about these players were better than in my day?
In my day.
And yes, Sean, that's true.
Art, do the old man in my day voice. Do it for me one
back
time.
in my day. Back in my day. But listen, Sean, don't be that guy. And so I said to Sean, you're right. Tom Brady's the greatest of all time.
Yeah.
You're saying Joe Montana just because you watch Joe Montana, and don't be that guy. Tom Brady's the greatest of all time.
I'm gonna tell you this. I'm gonna tell you this right now.
Hold on, I can't
Tampa
hear
Bay.
you. What's that, Art?
I said, what about Peyton Manning's comeback against Tampa Bay? 21 points in 4 minutes. If you're doing comparables.
No, you know what the problem is? I watch Peyton Manning go like this and then go like this.
Peyton Manning's not even above Joe Montana.
And I watch Tom Brady go like, I don't put Peyton Manning
Who had the biggest comeback in the at that time in the 90-year tenure of the NFL? Who had the biggest comeback? Joe Montana when he brought back his team from a 35-7 deficit and won the game.
I think against New Orleans, yeah.
Against the Saints. It was against the Saints.
Yeah, and then if Frank Reich had the ones Frank Reich did at that playoff game where they were down 38-3 or whatever the hell it was, or 31-3.
Yeah, but I'm playing devil's advocate here. I mean, we're talking
let's
about.
Go through it. Let's go through it real quick. Peyton Manning, 71,000 passing yards in his career. 539 touchdowns. 251 interceptions.
Yes.
A 96% quarterback rating average throughout his entire career. Let's go to Tom Brady. 79,000 passing yards. 581 touchdowns. And get this, 181. So he threw for more touches and has less interceptions than Peyton Manning. 97.3% quarterback rating average throughout his entire career. How is this even a conversation? 7 Super Bowls.
Do you
10
know
appearances. He's been in 18% of all Super Bowls. One guy. 18%.
I don't know how it can be denied. And you know what I do? And Art, I appreciate the sentiment, but this is kind of like the conversation that we had about Jared Goff a couple weeks ago, okay? I'm a guy you have to look at the whole thing. You have to look at the whole thing. You can't look at part of something. Because I can find things about Joik's game that make Joik look like a star, and I could find moments where, Joik, like you said, where you were banged up and you struggled. You have to look at the whole thing. If we're going to be honest, you have to look at a player's whole career. So if we talk about high moments, there are high moments for both of them. To me, the difference between a guy like Tom Brady and Peyton Manning is at the end, Peyton Manning was, here it comes, are you ready? He was the guy that was just a body running the machine. He was a system quarterback. He was a guy that he was a game manager. At the end, he was. That last Super Bowl, any Bronco fan, if you're watching right now, Peyton Manning was a game manager. He wasn't Peyton Manning anymore. He just wasn't. And if you don't believe me, look up his last years.
I'm saying, what made Peyton Manning Peyton Manning? He never had the strong arm.
His smarts.
It was his smarts.
His smart.
So you're saying he wasn't as smart as he used to be?
No, he couldn't throw anymore. He could. I mean,
he
couldn't
never had that strong arm.
No, but there's a difference between Peyton Manning at age 30 and Peyton Manning at age 37. I mean, it was that last year was. Look up his numbers. It was ugly. And the difference is, so did they win? Yes, they did. But he wasn't Peyton Manning leading the way. He was Peyton Manning game manager.
Right.
Whereas Tom Brady is still a freaking stud today.
No.
He is. And what was he bombastic against Kansas City? No, but he didn't have to be. You know, he's 21 of 29 for 200 yards and 3 touchdowns. You know what I mean? And to me, that's the difference between the two quarterbacks. It really is. I watch Peyton.
What makes Tom Brady so great?
I wish I don't know. I don't know.
You don't bet against Tom Brady.
Let's ask Maz, because Maz loves Tom Brady.
Maz.
Can we ask?
Hey, you want to come up here for a second? 'Cause I know you have Tom Brady in your top 3 of all times.
I'm good.
You sure? Yeah. That's the man who loves good football. Yeah. That's the man
Art
who loves
was raising
good
his
football.
hand, by the way. Did you notice that? Shall we go to Art? Hi, Art.
Hi, Joik. A question for you. When you guys bring up Peyton Manning,
that was Sean saying hi, not Joik. That was Sean. It wasn't me.
When you were talking about Peyton Manning and what he does in the locker room and how he basically not only played the quarterback but played the coach as well, do you think Tom Brady does that similarly? Like, is he in the playroom making those plays? Because when you talk about the brains of the whole operation, it seemed like Peyton had more of a grasp on the brains of the operation. He was making the play calls more than Tom Brady would.
I never played. No, Peyton, like, I think are you talking about during the game or are you talking about in practice during the week?
You had mentioned a couple weeks ago that Peyton was making the calls. He was telling people where to go.
Oh, he was the offensive coordinator.
Yeah. He was the OC.
To me, that's a leader. I'm not saying he's better than Tom Brady, but the game has changed too since 2016 when he retired.
Do you know Peyton Manning's last year? Do you know what his touchdown to interception ratio was?
What was it?
He had 9 touchdowns. He had 17 interceptions. That was Peyton Manning's last year. Like, I don't think people realize he went like that his last year. I mean, he did. There's no, and it doesn't take away from, he's one, I put him in my top 3, period, end of story.
All right, he's number 3.
I want you to understand me. Okay, but to me, Art, to your point, that's what makes me go, Tom Brady has been able to keep going and keep going and keep going and stay at that level. I'm sorry, that counts for something. To me.
Yeah, and he's got better.
Drop off.
He's got more yardage. He's got more touchdowns. I understand that, but every dog has their day. There's going to get to a point where you're going to see that in Tom Brady too, or does he just leave on top?
Hey, yo, if Tom Brady walks away from the game, say he plays another outstanding year next year, wins another one, he say, you know what, I want to hang it up. We'll never see that. We'll never see a drop off.
Do you think that it will get to that point where
I don't think he'll let it.
He won't let it. He'll walk away.
I think he's so prideful. I don't think he'll let it.
He'll do a Calvin Johnson. I want to walk away from the game now. I don't want to jeopardize my legacy. I'm gonna leave on a good note. I'm gonna leave the greatest of all time. Thank you, NFL. It's been a blast.
Peyton knew. He was on a great team. He was not the player on that great team.
No.
That defense was phenomenal. He didn't have to do much. Peyton knew it was time to go. I mean, you know what people forget? Remember when he was hurt his last year? He was benched. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
He was hurt. He was benched. Hurt, benched. I mean, that's real. But again, that was a great team around him. They did a great job of building up that defense.
He was hurt. Peyton, he was playing hurt. And so they benched him because he was playing hurt.
Hey, Joik, who is in your top 3? You had mentioned your top 3. Who's your top 3?
My bad, I can't hear you through the glass. But
oh
Sean.
My God.
Hey, Joik, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
If you had to have a top 3 of quarterbacks, who would you have?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I got you, Sean. So I will have. I'm going 3-1 or 1-3.
Go 3-1.
All right, I'll have Peyton Manning at 3. I'll have Joe Montana at 2. And I'll have Dan Marino not in there. I'll have Tom Brady. Massing like that.
I wish I could be different, guy. This is where I'll remind you. If I was different, guy, I would change my list. My list is the exact same way.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
Switch it up.
It's Peyton Manning.
Uh-huh.
It's Joe Montana. It's
Why
Tom
Joe
Brady.
Montana?
Joe Montana, I've never seen anybody cooler. He just, I think the famous story, the famous story?
Yeah.
The Cincinnati Bengals score.
I'm gonna do you.
Okay. The Cincinnati Bengals score in Super Bowl 23 to take the lead late, okay? San Francisco gets the ball back. There's all this tension. The crowd's going nuts. They go into the huddle. Maz, I'm sure you know this story. They go into the huddle. Everybody's kind of nervous. Montana doesn't say anything. He just kind of looks around and he goes, "Hey, guys, look, John Candy. There's John Candy in the stands." Every guy in that huddle said, "Okay, there's Joe Montana. We're going to go win this game." He hits John Taylor late in the game to win the game. He was clutch.
Right,
He was clutch. He was money.
Let me look through.
Oh no!
Let me do. I told you I'm
Crystal Fiji bottle.
Yeah, I'm about to imitate you.
All right.
Because this is a quarterback that I was able to watch. I was able to see him play.
Oh, Mickey Mockner?
No, it's actually Mass guy,
Okay.
and I actually liked him. He was a lefty. Got drafted to Tampa Bay for 1 year, left for a few years, and came back. And Steve Young. Now, I would be very interested to see what he would have been able to accomplish if he would have had stayed in the NFL for his entire career.
Yeah.
All right. He went to the 49ers, had a great career there. I know, Maz, that's your guy, right? That's your guy.
I like Troy, too.
You like Troy? But you know who I would choose over both those guys? Brett Favre. I like Brett.
I told you at some point in time I went from hating him to, I hate to say it, almost rooting for him. I did. I openly admit it.
Yeah.
Oh, never against the Lions, but I hate myself for, I really, like that Monday night game, like when his father died, you would have been really young.
Yeah.
I mean, heck, I think you would have been in high school.
I know. I don't know what it is. Every time I see him, I just want to buy some Levi jeans.
Right?
I just want to go to Myers.
Pack a dip and go fishing at the old creek hole.
Head over there
right?
to Meyer. Head over there to Meyer or at Walmart.
Wranglers.
Is he with Wrangler? Is not Levi? Oh, well, Wrangler jeans.
Maz always brings up Dan Marino.
He would know. Maz would know.
Dan Marino will never get the respect that he deserves.
Yeah.
Because of what he didn't do at the playoffs, and that's
I
a
told you,
shame.
he's
Our generation. Dan Marino was sick.
He's the Karl Malone.
Do you know what Dan Marino did? This is what I tell people all the time. Okay, Dan Marino did something in 1984 that it took the league literally changing the way it operates for somebody to match. He threw for 5,000 yards. 5,084 was this number. Like when it happened in 1984, little Sean's going, nobody's ever going to do that again. Little did I know that the league would become such the passing league that it is today. Mm-hmm. But and it's funny, you played with a couple of guys that did it.
Yeah, I did.
Drew Brees. Matthew Stafford.
Stafford.
You know what? I mean, the league's different today. There's a reason nobody came anywhere near that number. But that's what he had to do in Miami. He didn't have a running game. I mean, just throwing darts all over the field. And because they were so one-dimensional, and because they never had a damn good defense under Marino, I mean, they just never had a damn good defense. Did he get to the Super Bowl? Yeah, he got there. But they got their ass kicked. And more often than not, they got their ass kicked in the playoffs. But that doesn't take away. Dan Marino is one of the best. I can't put him in the top three. Maz, I don't know about you. Five? Yeah, I could say five. I could say I'd feel really good.
Who would be four? Will it be Brad? Aaron Rodgers.
He's awesome.
He's
who? Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers is awesome.
He's still going though.
Aaron Rodgers is awesome. Yeah. You have to put him up
So
there.
you put Aaron Rodgers at 4? I can't argue that.
See, you know who I liked when I was really little?
Is
Maz?
Stafford in your top 10?
No. Maz,
I knew that was
Roger
coming. Staubach
was amazing
Top
when I was
25?
a real little kid. Roger Staubach was and the guy, he got his wiener knocked out. Oh, Bradshaw was like your money guy. He was your money guy. Bradshaw would throw like 25 interceptions, but I'll tell you what, when it was money time, Bradshaw would eat you alive.
He loves Troy. He loves Troy.
Troy was sick in the playoffs.
He loves Troy.
Go back that year, that span where the Cowboys won the 3 Super Bowls in 4 years. Go back and look at Troy's numbers. He was sick. Yeah. He was just, he never had bombastic years, but again, when the lights went on, he was sickening.
What quarterback do we have that's undefeated in the Super Bowl?
Joe.
Only one.
Well,
I mean,
unless
multiple.
there's a one star, with multiple.
Multiple.
Bart Starr won 2. Terry Bradshaw was 4-0.
Oh, it was.
Montana won 4.
He won 3 with.
Montana won 4.
No, but he won 3 with one team and then 1 with another team. Or did he win 4 with all one team?
No, he just won.
No,
4.
he won. He went to the AFC Championship.
Yeah, with the Chiefs.
With the Chiefs.
Yeah, the Niners won the other Super Bowl with Steve Young when they beat the Chargers.
Yeah.
So Aikman was 3-0. Aikman was 3-0 in the Super Bowl. They beat the Bills twice and beat the Steelers. But Bradshaw was 4-0. He beat the Cowboys twice. He beat the Vikings. And he beat the Rams, the old Rams.
So you won't put him in your top 5?
Bradshaw?
Yeah.
No. How about the Snake? Kenny was a lot like Bradshaw in the regard that he made a lot of mistakes, but it's what he did to get out of the mistakes that made him special. Same thing with Terry. I mean, if you go back, I think there was one year where Terry had like 28 touchdowns and like 27 interceptions. But I'll tell you, when you went to the big game, he'd eat you alive. He'd destroy you. I mean, he was like an assassin. It was like, boo, 60-yarder, 60-yarder to Lynn Swan. Boo, 60-yarder to Stallworth.
The guys that can flip a switch.
Yeah. Yeah, he was like that.
Flip a switch.
Look that up. I think that one year he had like 28 touchdowns, 27 interceptions. And then like in the Super Bowl, he's eating the Dallas Cowboys alive.
What year was that?
It was 35-31, Super Bowl 13. So that would have been January 79. January 79. I'm a nerd. I remember. Didn't we talk about that though?
Yeah.
Because not only that, but they beat the defending Super Bowl champions, the Dallas Cowboys, who beat the Broncos 27-10. Super Bowl 13, 35-31.
I wasn't even 13 years from being here yet.
And then they beat Vince Ferragamo and the Rams the next year, 31-19. And then a wild card won the year after that.
Do the voice again. Emmett, Troy,
Aikman, Irvin, touchdown. Emmett Smith.
Not even a 10-yard run.
Pat Summerall was great. Fournette.
Sanders.
Fournette. That's that one call, the one famous Barry call. You know that famous Barry call where he runs and like all the Cowboys are turning around because they thought Sanders. And that's a touchdown. Thanks, Pat. I appreciate it. Thanks for doing all that work, buddy. Gosh, guy was magical.
He was magical. But did you love him? Did you love him?
Oh yeah,
you loved him.
You know what? I've made a lot of jokes about his purple hands over the years and calling him Grimace, and much to Maz's chagrin, I always use the term, that was the soundtrack to my youth. Like when I hear Pat Summerall's voice, is God is my witness. I'm in my front room on Sunset in Livonia, and my pops and I are watching a football game. Whenever I hear his call, I swear to God, it's like there's like this magic transformation that just for the minute, my dad's sitting in his reclining chair, bitching at everything that I say, and why don't you shut your mouth during a game? And we're in the front room watching football. I mean, it really was a soundtrack of my youth, honestly. But when it went bad at the end, it went bad. He was mispronouncing names. Joiku Bal. Who the hell is that? He's gone.
You know what's funny?
No, he isn't.
Hey, we got my guy. We have a guest here.
Yeah, can we have a Jalen Hurts appreciation moment, Scott? Can we please?
Yeah.
No, don't shake your head.
No.
You have to give me a little Jalen
Hold
Hurts
on,
love.
you can't say his name until we bring him on here.
Oh, I'm supposed
Hey,
to
see who our
tease?
guest is next. But we up against the break right now. You have Sean Baligian and Drake Bell. See you in a few.
I'm looking to bring on another HVAC tech right now.
We are recruiting 5 to 10 techs a month.
We're looking to grow and expand.
Every new tech we hire is from Northwestern Tech.
The hands-on training is fantastic.
They're always my first call.
We love hiring Northwestern Tech grads.
They come out trained and ready to work.
Our program is only 10.5 months, and our next classes are starting soon. So why wait?
I'm looking to hire
Hire a graduate of Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
Northwestern Tech.
Hey, and we're back.
And we're back. Yeah, Art's sitting there pointing at me, and he didn't know I was going full summer all on him.
Got the purple hands going?
And I should just bang my hands on the table and make them all purple. Scott Bischoff.
Hi.
We do the draft show. Glad you could join us. Joik Bell, Scott Bischoff, Sean Baligian. What do you think of the deal?
It's interesting. I mean, that's ridiculous. I think it makes the Stafford trade look really good, but it also tells you what the market was for Wentz. And maybe because of his contract, obviously the injury stuff is a big factor, but so it's a 3rd round pick this year, a second in 2022 with the potential to be a first. Do I have that right?
Yes.
What's the contingency plan on that pick? What makes it a first or a second? Is it an injury protection?
I don't know, but you know as well as I do, my guess might have something to do with some team success as well.
Okay.
You know how that stuff works.
I do.
That is 1,000% a guess, but that's usually if they win a playoff game, that's when the conditions kick in. If they go to the AFC Championship game, that's usually how that stuff works. Usually. Key and operative word.
Yes. It's low risk for Indy. I mean, they're giving up, if it flops, they're giving up a 3rd and a 2nd.
I think it's great.
Yeah. It's just, what is Wentz? I mean, with Reich there, I think he's a really intriguing fit there. It's what was in Philly when he was super successful. It's the injury stuff. Some of the reports coming from out of Philly's locker room about the way he handled things when he was criticized in meetings is not great. But I mean, for both teams, it's Philly really needed to move. They had to move him. It's just.
Joik, did you hear anything about that? What Scott said, because I've heard it. You guys know better, but evidently there's a pretty good divide on that team of Carson Wentz guys and not Carson Wentz guys.
Yes.
That's a very nice way of confirming.
Don't say anything else. You don't have to say anything else.
No. Colts, Wentz, argument.
Manning, Wayne.
Yeah. So
touchdown.
I'm gonna tell you this though. I played on a team briefly to where the coach, I want to say the coach, I would say the OC and the quarterback.
Are you okay?
I started laughing.
It caught a crap. Oh my God. That's you're out of shape. Hey, we gotta get you to the gym with me, man. We gotta start doing some yoga. You gotta start drinking. You know what it is? That brisket.
Is he dehydrated?
Dehydrated.
No, I might be dehydrated. You know what? You don't understand. You know what it is? Like Joik, seriously, I've been on the elliptical so much that I started laughing. I bent over and it was like, oh, there goes the hammy. Yeah. I mean, honestly, that's what happened.
Oh my God.
You know what really grinds my gears?
I've been hitting the elliptical so hard it was like when Mass did the ultimate delay. He goes, murder. And then about 2 minutes later, you're in the middle of talking and I hear, she wrote. I lost it.
All right.
I had to stand up and stretch out my hammy, dude.
Right.
That's funny. Sorry.
That's funny.
Go ahead.
All right. So it can divide. It can divide the room, and it can also cause a losing culture because once that happens, it's hard to get back on the same page, right? So I remember I was playing on the team, and the OC made a remark about one of the players, and it was a joke, like during a meeting. And at the time, the quarterback at the time didn't like it, and so not after the meeting, pull him to the side, but during the meeting they get into an argument, and you can tell the tension in the room. And at the end of that year, both him and the coordinator was both gone. Actually, it was the coaching staff was both gone. And I'm like, wow, like it's no love in this room. Like I'm not used to seeing this. I'm like, but it was different. It was different. So it can cause some divisiveness,
Maz keeps sending me pictures. You gotta stop that.
Hey,
so I think that's the third hot dog you've had this quarter.
Go out, get out, Maz. Maz, get out. Get out.
You need a timeout. So what happens when a player refuses to take responsibility for mistakes he's made?
It's not about that. Sometimes it's the way that you can criticize a man, you can critique him, you can give him feedback.
Aren't you a pro? What's happening?
Yeah. He's back here. Maz, get out!
He's making faces. Make him go away.
And then he goes.
I'm not looking anymore.
And then he goes and stands in the corner like I can't see him. He walks in the corner. He's right there.
I'm like that guy on the old show that wears the hat over his head. I can't see Maz anymore. He's making me laugh.
Joy kicking him out on his birthday.
Nah, man, it's your birthday. Stay here. Have a seat. Just turn your chair around.
So what were you saying? You were
sorry.
About to say something great. So it's not about the responsibility for the player. It's about the way he communicates it. Or?
No. So we take criticism, right? You have to be able to take it. This is what the game is. But the way that you criticize a man, the way you critique him, the way you talk to him, you can critique a man and not disrespect him as a man, right?
Kind of like what happened with Darius Slay?
Yeah, it's stuff like that. You can critique a guy. It's like, perfect example. I messed up before. Coach Caldwell set me down. We talked about it. It never happened again, right? But the way that he came up, the way that he went about it is, like, we have a thing called emphasis tape. Every day we'll have a meeting. He'll bring up something on the film. It's a particular player. It could be Stafford. It could be me. It could be Glover Quinn. It could be anybody, It could be Theo Riddick, right? He's going to pull up in front of the whole team. On this particular play, you have to be able to make a better decision. I give you another example how he holds us. Listen, we go in, we're losing at halftime. We come in the locker room. He tells Stafford, listen, if you throw one more pick, I'm sitting. He says this in front of the whole team. Like, if you throw one more pick, I'm sitting you, right? Because I cannot have my star player out there making these type of decisions. Now, that's critiquing, and he's holding him to a certain standard, right? He's holding to a certain standard. And he goes back out. Stafford makes his read. He throws a pick. And everybody looks over at Caldwell like, what you going to do? Like, that's our star player. Mm-hmm. And he sits him. And he puts in Dan. Dan goes in. But like, it wasn't disrespectful, right? It wasn't disrespectful. It's not, you MFer, he didn't talk to us like that.
Yeah.
Right, so it's the ways that you talk to a player, the way that you communicate, and we understand this is a job, but we can do our job, and you can critique me and give me feedback without disrespecting me as a man, because at the end of the day, I'm a man first.
What if the scenario happened where a coach did that stuff and the player refused to deal with it?
Then you get rid of him.
That's kind of what is being reported. Is Wentz just did not want to be coached, didn't want to be shown his mistakes, and when those things came up, just refused to own them.
Then you get rid of them, and then you try to hold back that media info because you don't want that to hurt you when you're trying to negotiate getting a deal done with them. Because that's going to get back to other teams.
Amen.
And now you're going to be stuck with them. And now that's when you go to your media people and say, listen, y'all write what y'all want to write, but
that's when I lie to you. See, this goes back to what we were talking about. I brought this up to him, and I'm going to put you on the spot. You knew this was going to happen. I don't even have to tell you.
Uh-oh.
Scott and I were both in the club drafted quarterback last year. both of us. I can speak for him there. We were both in the club draft of quarterback, and my mindset was sooner rather than later what happened this offseason was going to happen. Matthew Stafford was either going to leave or Matthew Stafford was going to be done. So my mindset was, if it worked for Kansas City, why can't the Detroit Lions do that? Now, that didn't mean that the Lions had to take that quarterback at number 2 overall. As a matter of fact, both he and I said 100 times, I get it. They're not going to take a quarterback there. I get it, okay? But I was somebody, and I know you and I have had this conversation about, I said to him 100 times, I said, is there something I'm missing about Jalen Hurts? And I did that with you about Lamar Jackson as well. Yeah. I go, why are people so down on this guy? I don't get it. What was it about Jalen? Yeah, I said this to Scott.
No. Was this a scout? You didn't say a name. You said a scout. Is this a scout that told you he couldn't give you anything negative about him?
No.
That was another scout.
No, it was somebody else.
Okay.
Somebody with a team. But
okay.
But go ahead.
Nothing negative about Hurts?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's not a lot there.
Okay, there's
from
two.
Just from a I don't know.
6'1", right? Isn't that what people hold against him? He's 6'1"?
Yeah, and he's more of a running quarterback than he is a passing traditional kind of,
But is he?
Well, I think there's some component. No, I don't know that he is, but there's a component of, I don't know if we want to go down this road, but
we're here.
We're here. He's a quarterback of a certain race, and the natural desire is to just, okay, he's effective when he runs the ball, so he's a running quarterback. And he's not your prototype size. He's not your 6'4" and 2.
He's a certain race, so he's black. Is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I don't. You could say it.
You can say it too. I mean, if that's what's going on up there, you can.
Do you think that's part of it, Joy? Like a guy with Lamar Jackson. Like seriously, that the people looking at him and going, "We don't want that black quarterback." Do you think that's part of it?
No.
I don't think that's what it is. I think it's just a little bit. Look at the way he runs.
It's a stigma that they've tried to put on black quarterbacks that we're starting to get away from now. That we've gotten away from.
It's mind-boggling.
Yeah.
What more? Like to me, I'm being serious. What more do you need to see?
Well, I mean, Lamar Jackson was more limited as a passer than, your typical elite first-round types. He was.
Sure.
But the things that he was capable of doing are ridiculous.
Yes.
So that's the issue is that, I mean, are you drafting him to be a pure pocket passer? Well, I hope not. That's not what he is. It's not what he's good at doing. Hurts, I think some of the negativity associated with people who didn't really know what he was as a player was associated with him having to transfer. Right? There were multiple places where he played, and he played at a pretty high level at both places.
Yeah.
Right? It's just you need to design. I mean, you got to create an offense around the things that he does well, and some of that is creating RPOs, and some of that is designing runs for him, and some teams just don't want to do that. So I don't know. Truthfully, I don't know what went into the evaluation with what he is, other than he doesn't fit he doesn't meet the benchmarks for exactly what you want size wise, and then there's the running component of what he was that made him effective, both at Oklahoma and Alabama, and then but is he Philly's guy? I mean, I guess is that where we're going, or do we think he's Philly's guy? No.
Yes.
I don't know. I don't know.
You don't think so?
I don't know that they're sold on that.
Let's make sure that we're saying he's that guy right now for quarterback. That's their starting quarterback. Are you saying this is the guy for them to take them to the next level? That's what you're not sure of.
Yeah. I don't know that anybody could really.
Okay.
Do you know what, though? I bring this up, and I brought this up to Joy, and we're up against it. We'll continue the conversation with Scott. I would be crying tears of joy if today the Lions found themselves in the position where they had taken Jalen Hurts last year, and they were at 22 years old. They said, Jalen, look, we're going to build this team around you, but it's going to be a couple of years. Like with everything right now, but put Jalen Hurts, a guy that you drafted in the second round who sat for a year behind Matthew Stafford, I'd be crying tears of joy right now if the Lions were in that position.
It would be perfect.
Yeah. And then you can give him some competition. You can draft a quarterback at
Sure.
6 and see if it works.
Sure.
One of
And I think that's always
Yeah.
been, and I think that's always been the issue here. We didn't give Stafford.
That is absolutely true.
We never gave him competition here.
Never.
He was always
Interesting.
Good quarterback, but was always comfortable knowing that I'm the starting quarterback.
Yeah.
He's the guy.
And he's the guy. He was the guy here, for sure. Loved him.
Hey, start a new career in an industry that is always essential, the heating and cooling industry. Learn more today by visiting northwesterntech.edu. Joy. Bischoff. Woodward. Sports. Oh no!
This is going to be a problem.
All right, you mentioned the name during the break. Okay,
I did. I made a
so
mistake.
Listen, so Pat Summerall, you kind of, it went south for him. There's no other way to say it. And so Fox said, "We're saying goodbye to you" in 2002. Well, Pat still believed he could do broadcasts. So 8 years later, Pat, after begging them, let me do broadcasts again. They said, "Well, we're going to give you the Cotton Bowl with Moose Johnston." And it was, I have no other way to say it. It was just a comedy of errors. So when he says Dexter McCluster, during the broadcast, he did one of his calls and he goes, "McCluster, he's gone."
It's like a jet sweep.
No, he isn't. Yes, he is. Touchdown. And then it wasn't Ole Miss, it was Ole Mills. Ole Mills 10. Texas 7. Extra point. Kick is up. It's good. No, it isn't. It was just, and it was like at that point in time, and so you had all these people that loved this guy growing up like me, and I'm going, please take him up back like old Yeller. It's over. It's over. I'm not saying shoot him. You can't put him on anymore.
Why are you trying to put your heroes in the nursing home? You're trying to put your heroes in the nursing home.
He shouldn't have been on TV anymore.
Yeah. This is your hero, though.
It was over.
It was your hero. This is your hero.
McCluster
and Old Mills.
Who is McCluster?
You know what?
Knock it off.
Listen, it's a hard last name.
Oh yeah.
Can you picture him trying to say Joik? Can you picture that?
The Joker.
I don't know if you could say the word
it would have been
Scott.
ugly.
You know,
Sean.
Juke,
I mean,
you know
what do you think
what?
he'd do with your name?
I don't know if he could have said the day of the week. To
I've
be
heard
honest
a lot.
with you,
I've heard a lot of the name that I've heard that stuck out of my mind. Out of all the names, the mispronounced is Jaquiki.
Jaquiki?
I do not know how they came.
How did you get to Jaquiki?
It was during the game.
How?
Hillsdale.
Jaquiki.
They came going into halftime, leading all rushers. Jaquiki Bell. And me and my teammates looked at each other. Jaquiki, like he has to be up there joking right now. So I came back out in the second half, and I really put it on. I really put it on them in the second half. I'll never forget
It's
it.
almost like Muhammad Ali.
Yeah.
Stand, say my name.
Say my name.
Say my name.
Say my name.
All right, here's a good
What it
question.
was.
This is a good question. Kevin said, why bring in competition if your quarterback is making $20 million plus a year? Everyone knows it's fake.
Okay.
I think that's a good question.
But when your quarterback gets injured, say like 2 years ago, and that competition is productive, you can then flip him for assets. And that's something the Lions never even bothered to do.
Didn't even come close to.
Didn't. And to your point, I think
They bring competition at every other position. They bring competition in running backs,
yeah.
tight ends,
And every day in training
Receivers.
camp, you knew you had to bring it, right?
receivers, linebackers, D linemen, but not the most important piece of the team. What
Yeah.
are we doing?
Well, you're
If you listen to he and I last year, a year ago at this time, we were villains. We were dumb. We were meanie poo dum dums. We were evil.
but we can be dumb.
We can be dumb.
And
we can be
also-
meanie poo dum dums. I'm not sure about evil, but Joy, to me, I think the problem with this franchise is there were people that were playing checkers as opposed to chess. It was time to look 2 steps ahead. It really was. It was time to look 2 steps ahead. It just was.
But like you said, they were sold on Stafford.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to be here. He's not going to miss any games. We're good. We're fine.
Yeah.
But the same thing happened back when Ndamukong Suh was leaving. There was the mentality that he's staying here. We can sign him. We don't even have to think about that position.
I know Martin's your boy, but
Whatever.
that was he pulled the holster out and forget about putting a bullet in his foot. He blew off the whole lower part of his leg.
We talked about why he did that. You remember we talked about
Mm-hmm.
that. And what was his reasoning behind doing that? We needed one more piece offensively, so we went out and got an Ebron.
Mm-hmm.
Did we pass on Aaron Donald?
Yes.
Pass on him.
His mistake was he convinced himself that Ndamukong Suh was going to stay.
I'm gonna tell you that, and I tell you what we should have did that year, and they did. We go get an Aaron Donald, right? We had a good tight end in Dave Osbury. I love. Do you remember Dave Osbury? Played tight end, had wide receiver speed, but had the build of a tight end with great hands, and broke his fingers during training camp and never got an opportunity. They let him go, but he had the same talent. He was the same talent level as Eric Ebron, just an older player. I think he might have been in year 4. I could be wrong. Had some experience, and we could have had a replacement for Sue if he were to leave.
Yeah, and it's some of that is, if that's an excuse that was made that you needed one more piece, I understand that side of it, but tight ends generally are very unproductive in year 1. So you're really, if you want that piece, it really shouldn't come from a rookie. You know what I mean? If you really wanted a passing game weapon, Odell Beckham was there.
I think you heard what he said. He thought that there was a guy in house that could have provided what Ebron did.
Yeah.
So we had a guy in house. So
let him play and bring in another
so do we go?
Kind of thing.
We already had Golden Tate, and we had Calvin. Oh, come on now.
That's a good
team. Come on.
No, that was a good team.
No. When I say Golden Tate, you. Oh, okay.
No.
He
Golden
was the
Tate
best.
Was awesome.
He's the best at the time. He's probably top 3 in the NFL with Yak. Probably number 1. Yards after the catch.
He was incredible. But it just, you can't have enough offensive weapons.
I understand what you're saying, but we're talking about that particular draft. Would you take and on that team that we had, would you get Odell? Would you get Aaron Donald?
I would have gone Odell. You know that, Scott.
At the moment in time, I would have gone Odell. I would have.
What the weapons that we already had?
Yes. You know why? As you and I have talked about, okay?
We talk about needs.
What hurt that team that year? Your offense hurt that team. You did. I mean, there's no other way to say that.
Was it the receivers?
I don't know what it was. You guys didn't do enough. I mean, that I say again, Scott, I always say this to Joik. If you pluck the offense from 2016, the 2016 offense under Jim Bob Cooter, I know what hurt your offense, and so do you. I'll say it. Joe Lombardi was a mess. You pluck that offense from 2016 and put that on the 2014 team, that team does
Things
damage.
are different. Yeah.
That team does.
Yeah.
You guys beat the Dallas Cowboys. And who knows if you beat Green Bay the next week. We're never going to know. I don't like to look into the magic conch and guess and everything. But I can tell you definitively.
You talking about 14?
Yeah, your 2016 offense was a damn good offense that turned it on when they had to win games late. 2014, you guys didn't do that. And that, to me, that was a big difference.
We did.
Your offense hurt you in 2014. You know it. You did.
They did. But we had about 3 or 4 comebacks.
Sure, but 2016 was insanity.
Yeah.
It was like an exception to the rule. It really was.
Yeah.
And that's why I think a lot of people.
In 2014, you didn't have weapons because they were there.
I told you my biggest problem with Martin was convincing himself that Ndamukong Suh was going to say, but most importantly, and Scott, I'm sure you know this, the day after he left, sitting in Allen Park going, well, what are we going to do now? Huh? You don't have a contingency plan? You mean you haven't thought about plan B, C, D, E, F, G at that point in time? And this is his words, not mine. He said, somebody said, why don't we go after Haloti Ngata?
Listen,
and it's like you have to have contingency plans.
This is what I'm telling you. That's why I would have went after Aaron Donald in that draft and not Odell.
Okay.
That's the contingency plan.
Yes.
Okay.
That's what it is.
Right.
That's why I wouldn't go.
Yeah. I get you. Because we wouldn't have needed that. You're right.
Right. And so now, because we would have won, we could have went deep in the playoff, right? We could have went deep in the playoffs with Aaron Donald alone.
Would have been sick
but
with
if you
both of
put
them
him
that
with
year.
Sue?
That year? Oh my
Good
gosh, you guys would have
Lord.
been sick.
Yeah. Unstop. What are you going to do? How are you going to? How is an
You-
offensive
you-
line
you
gonna
would've been
handle
sick.
We only need 4 rushes. Everybody drop back in coverage. Cover 2.
that? Okay.
We don't what?
Yeah,
We getting
cover-
pressure. It would have looked for the whole season how Tampa looked. I mean, how Kansas looked against Tampa during the Super Bowl.
Or me,
Pressure.
It would have been
I
incredible.
wanted Odell Beckham. I'm not no revisionist history.
I understand what you're saying.
I wanted Odell.
I know you want
did.
Odell.
Now, I mean,
but
look,
the contingency plan, the smart
hindsight
thing to do
being-
was to get Aaron.
Hindsight
Yes.
being 2020, you're
No doubt.
absolutely right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think what made the Aaron Donald snafu worse is that they didn't keep Ndamukong Suh and he didn't have a contingency.
But there's
plan.
other players that went right after
No,
Ebron was like Zach Martin. Incredible offensive lineman, right? I mean, he was.
Yeah.
He would have really fixed things that needed addressing down the road. But the Ebron thing felt like such a luxury. But you're right. I mean, Aaron Donald would have been the smartest pick to make. And seeing what those two could have done, I don't know what interior offensive lineman would. I don't
Could you
know how they could
imagine
block
that?
those guys.
Yeah.
I really don't. And then bringing in somebody off the corner, and like you're saying, dropping a bunch of guys into coverage. I mean, if you were to ask quarterbacks, I think the quarterbacks deal with edge pressure much better than they do with pressure coming up the middle.
Right in their face.
Yeah, and most quarterbacks are
Because you can't step up.
Exactly, and they're not willing to take those hits either. Like, not only can you not step up, but they don't want to do that. You can see it. You can see it if it's somebody coming off the, off of your right tackle. You can see it and evade it. But if the way you avoid it with NFL quarterbacks is to climb into the pocket, okay, you're climbing into Ndamukong Suh and Donald. I don't know what. I think that's a missed opportunity where, I would have loved to have seen it because it would have been incredible to watch.
It would have been
It
incredible.
really would have been. It would have been amazing.
I got to get this out there, guys. Tell you about MyBookie. MyBookie is the place to go because no matter the sport or season, you can always win big now. I'm talking nonstop action, 365 days a year. Choose from thousands of lines on the NBA, NHL, UFC, and more. The winning can never end when you play at MyBookie. Now, they truly have something for everybody, and absolutely nobody does prop bets like MyBookie. You can get action on everything from celebrity to divorce to the winner of the All Valley Karate Tournament. You can really bet on that, by the way. Yeah. March Madness is right around the corner, so start building your bankroll now. But it all starts here. Do yourself a favor, get a head start, sign up today with promo code Woodward and get your first deposit match halfway up to $1,000. That's free cash credited to your account instantly on top of your deposit. Now, the best part is you always have access to the action, whether you're at home or on the go. Visit mybookie.ag today and use promo code Woodward to grab yourself a deposit bonus. Bet, win, and get paid at MyBookie. Steven said 12 picks happened before Donald. You're right, Steven, but we're talking about what the Lions could have done in that position. At that moment, because the debate was, do you know who you remember, I loved Mike Evans. I went gaga over Mike Evans, and Mike Evans went, as I remember, 2 picks before the Lions. I think he went to Tampa 2 picks before the Lions. But I was a guy, Joy, to your point, yes, I wanted more offense. I thought offense is what hurt the Lions, and if you could have gotten more out of your offense the next year, you might have been special. Yeah. You had a nice year, but it wasn't enough.
Yeah.
Some of it was making Stafford.
Trenches. We just need to win in the trenches.
Yeah.
Win in the trenches, both sides. And we do that, we're a totally different team. Like I said, the games are won in the trenches. It's not won in the backfield. Even a good quarterback, a great quarterback can only get you so far if you're having issues in the trenches. Perfect example, Mahomes. Look at Mahomes in the Super Bowl.
Truth.
It's certain things that he made some, getting tackled by the sideline, doing a 360 and throwing it in the corner of the end zone and almost completing a touchdown pass.
He's insane.
Falling level with the ground, parallel with the ground, and just all arms sneaking it and hitting the guy in the face and people just not coming through. You can only do so much at a quarterback position when you're getting that much pressure in your face. And then there's so much you can do when you don't have any pressure.
Yep. Thanks, Grammy Whammy. She said, great show, guys. Before we get out of here, Joik, what do we got today for the people?
What do we have for the people today, Art?
Thank you for springing on me. I greatly appreciate you. It's about the NAACP, the origins of it.
All right, we're going to get out of here. Scott Bischoff, always appreciate you stopping in. He and I are going to have another draft show for you. This one's going to be fun, pal. We're talking generalities and what might be at 7 and what might the top 10 look like.
Sure.
Thanks to everybody for joining us. We'll talk to you tomorrow, Friday at Woodward Sports. See you. Peace.
Most early films consisted of one reel, lasted around 15 minutes, and cost a few $100s to produce. All of that changed in 1915 when a film called The Birth of a Nation, a 3-hour-long saga, was released by director D.W. Griffith. It instantly stood out as a technological and storytelling marvel. It also stood out as a monumental piece of blatantly racist propaganda.
The Birth of a Nation fixes a certain story of the Civil War and Reconstruction in the minds of the American public. And that story is that black people were too lazy and ignorant to fully master the citizenship that they were offered by Reconstruction.
Birth of a Nation really didn't have black people in it. So these are white people in blackface portraying congressmen who are obviously not ready for self-government, portraying the idea of the rapist. And these are all the stereotypes that are believed by many, many Americans.
The film was met with fierce resistance from African Americans, particularly from a recently founded organization focused on the advancement of the race, the NAACP.
One of the most important early initiatives of the NAACP was organizing against the Birth of a Nation. They generated a lot of interest by protesting the film and drew in a great deal of support from African Americans.
Despite its best efforts, the NAACP couldn't persuade censorship boards or theaters to limit the film's reach. But the young organization gained national prominence because of this campaign. That year, membership almost doubled, and that number would continue to grow as it mounted the fight against Jim Crow.
Those activists dissented at the time, and those dissenting voices were always there. They were there during the darkest periods of American history. And remembering that tradition, to me, is almost more important than remembering the failures and the losses and the terrorism that black people faced.